How are you doing? Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. Appetizer. My drink for today's dinner. I thought I'd make a quick video. Also I've got here. Give us a twirl. Yeah. Okay, so I thought I'd do a quick video because I'm on my lunch hour and bored. And a lot of people are talking about this, 80-20 split with Fury and White. Now, if you're as old as me, you gave up caring about the shenanigans of all the ruling bodies a long, long time ago. We'll concentrate on the WBC, because that's essentially who we're talking about with this Fury White situation. If you go way, way back, 30 years at least, Jose Suliaman, who was Mauricio Suliaman's father, was very, very close with Don King. And King fighters were given, preferential treatment, whichever way you slice and dice it. I don't even need to be diplomatic, because there's no need to be. They were given preferential treatment. Now, fast forward to the modern day, and Suliaman's son, Mauricio, essentially has the same attitude towards certain promoters. There's favoritism. The obvious one is Canelo. Tested positive for steroids, came up with some nonsensical, highly dubious excuse, and was let off, given a 6-month ban, I think, which meant nothing because he could have taken 6 months off anyway. He walks around, this is Suliaman, walks around with, I think I saw there's one picture of him with a Canelo baseball cap. He's hugging Canelo. He's hugging his team. Canelo's the pride of Mexico, etc., etc., etc. But there are other people that Suliaman is close to. And one of those is Tyson Fury, who's managed by MTK. Now, Suliaman recently made some comments about how he likes MTK, how good he thinks it is. And also Tyson Fury, having fought 3 times for the WBC belt and been involved in that terrific trilogy, Suliaman will want to keep Fury happy. He won't want to lose him. Couple this with the fact that Dillian Whyte has some sort of legal issue with the WBC, which he took on about, was it 6 months ago? So, is it any surprise that suddenly out of the blue, Suliaman and the WBC, who are obviously going to do Whyte no favours because he's suing them, pull this 80-20 thing out of their arse? It should surprise absolutely no one. Now, I went on the WBC's website. If you go on now, there's a little link, rules. Click on it. And then you've got like a page and a half of zip files and PDFs, all with titles. So I opened about 4 or 5 that I thought might be relevant to the issue of mandatory contenders, purse splits and so on. I could find absolutely nothing whatsoever mentioning an 80-20 split. There was some mealy-mouthed text about at the discretion of the WBC, taking into consideration a fighter's commercial worth, etc., etc., things could be amended. but nothing at all about 80-20. And I suppose that the small print, if you like, fudges the issue and it gives the WBC enough wiggle room to somehow justify the 80-20 split. The argument being that Fury, having been involved in the 3 Wilder fights, is a far bigger draw than White. So therefore, White doesn't deserve any more than 20%. Now, it should surprise no one, again, that the WBC make this stuff up as they go along, essentially. It's a sort of ad hoc, way of doing things. While I was on the WBC site, WBC's website, I actually opened their code of conduct. And if you read it, it's very lengthy. You can get this sort of bridge bullet point version. But having read it, there's a lot of very good, very fine sentiments contained in that code of conduct. There's very little to disagree with. The reality, though, is that the fairness and the egalitarianism and what a more cynical person than I might call virtue signalling doesn't seem to play out in the real world. Now, just to play devil's advocate, let's look at Dillian Whyte. He took out this case against the WBC. Is he surprised that they're treating him like a piece of meat? It shouldn't surprise him, and it shouldn't surprise anyone. Whyte is self-managed, and there's a great deal to be said about self-management. It's a good thing. There's a flip side to it. Whyte has fixated on the WBC. I don't know why. So I read somewhere that he had some personal beef with Wilder and wanted to get in the ring with him. But he did turn down that Joshua rematch. And don't get me wrong now, I'm actually on Dillian Whyte's side. He's paid a lot of sanctioning fees to the WBC through eliminators and final eliminators and all the rest of it. And he's held a couple of their belts, so I'm on his side. But the downside of being self-managed is that sometimes, if you are fixated on something, and your ego and your pride gets in the way, and maybe anger gets in the way, you need someone, a close advisor, to come in and say, hang on a minute, you're putting all your eggs in one basket here. You're allowing your pride, your ego, your desire to blind you to other options. So yes, I do think Whyte could have maybe had a plan B or even a plan C, but he went down that WBC path. And if you're going to do that, to take out a legal case against them, I mean, it seems to me like you're being very ham-fisted, and you shouldn't be surprised if they say, oh, you want to play that game, do you? All right, because you're not going to win it. You're not going to win a game like that. Dillian Whyte reminds me of the sort of, American sort of, I don't know what you call them, rednecks, or I don't know what the fuck they're called. They're one of those sort of homosexual gun nuts who stands on his lawn with his gun in hand saying, this is my freedom, this is my property, don't you dare come on here or I'll shoot you. I hate the government is the root of all evil. And then the government comes along with the tank and runs him over. Didn't even break sweat, but because you can, I'm all for people standing up, but what is it, no man is an island, is that the phrase? And Whyte seems to think that street mentality, that alpha male swaggering mentality was going to get him someplace. It didn't. It won't with the WBC. It's too powerful an organisation. They've got too many lawyers. They've got too much money. And I think Dillian, although I support him, I think he's long overdue his title shot. I think he kind of shot himself in the foot without arbitration, not arbitration, whatever it is, legal issue. What I think will happen, and I've said this in previous videos, I've felt this for several months actually, is I don't think Fury wants to fight Whyte. I think Fury has got bigger fish to fry. I don't think he's scared of him. What will probably happen is that Fury will be made into a franchise champion. You can read all the Emeritus champ, the interim champ. It's all on there, one of these downloadable PDFs that's on the website. But I think Fury will become the franchise champ. White will be, is he already interim champ or regular champ or some bullshit? I don't know. But he'll then be ordered to fight White. To fight Wilder, excuse me. White will be ordered to fight Wilder. That's what I think will happen. I've always thought that some sort of scenario like that will happen. But yeah, to get back to the original point of this video, 80-20, I could not find a thing on their website, in none of their documents, which are all open to the public. But they're probably going to say, this bit of small print here, this bit of mealy mouth text, this covers us. And in a courtroom, if White was to take them to court and say, they've done me, they're stealing money out of my pocket, I paid all these sanctioning fees and they only offered me 20%. Would lawyers be able to present that case and win it? I don't know. I'm not a legal eagle, but basically I think White's on a loser here. That's my own personal view. But I do support him. I hope he does beat the WBC. I hope I'm wrong. So anyway, what are your thoughts? This is all very convoluted. I don't normally give a fuck about promoters and the wars that go on between ruling bodies and negotiations and all this stuff. It bores me rigid, but I've made this video because I think White has been hard done by, even though he's been his own worst enemy in some respects. I think he's been hard done by. What do you think? Leave your comments below. If you know, maybe I've said something that you don't think is accurate, you've got some more information, by all means let me know. Thanks for your time as always. I'm going to have another 12. Take care of yourselves, all right? I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye for now.